Good evening, everyone. Let him cook. Min Woo conquers Texas. And tonight, we're going to talk putters with a little up-and-coming putter brand that some of you might have heard of. Let's get right into it. Welcome to the Tavern. Yeah. I think he is back to form. He fell off a little bit last year, but he also was named Ryder Cup captain. Give me King Gravity! How's everybody doing this evening? Oh, you guys are still on mute. I gotta unmute you. Sorry.
Let him cook.
Steve, you are the least qualified person to wear a chef's hat out of this group.
I don't know about that, but okay.
No,
I do.
He's been doing some cooking.
I've had your cooking.
Okay.
Good evening, Chicago.
So I know that Greg, I know we usually talk about weekends and stuff, and
We do.
I almost feel like tonight our guest is stuck and stranded in Reno, and I almost feel like we need to let him get back to doing what he's doing. So
Let's
what do you say
go right into
let's mix up the order tonight, and we'll go from there. So
here we go. So, as I said in the intro, we have a little putter brand on here tonight. So let's welcome in the man behind probably the biggest putter in the game right now, and probably the biggest innovation in the past decade in the golf club industry. We're going to welcome in Bill Presse, founder and creator of L.A.B putters. As you can see, Steve is
In
on
1
the
minute.
phone. I got you. We got some time here, so
we can hear everything that you were saying. Yes.
take Steve off here.
Yeah.
So,
But
I mean,
L.A.B's kind of it's taken things by storm. It's from a design standpoint to really kind of the go-to putter or style, but we'll get into that in a little bit here with Bill. We've all rolled a L.A.B at one point in time or another.
Yeah.
Greg, any thoughts on the putter itself?
it's an amazing putter. I mean, just the balance that it has, and we'll let Bill talk into the design here when we pull him back in here. So I think we're all ready to go. There
he
Bill.
goes. Hey, Bill.
I can't hear Steve either. So, I mean,
Yeah. We've
can't hear
lost Steve and
can't
Bill.
hear- and Bill.
Oh, there's me. I'm fixed now.
Okay.
I shut it off on my mic. Bill, on that screen. Here, hold on. Let me try and connect here.
Joys of live technology.
I know this is what we get sometimes. I mean, I think Bill is in Tahoe, snowed in
Bill said
right now.
he's snowed in, so
I have been there.
Bill,
I've been
down at the
in
bottom
Tahoe.
of your screen, there should be a microphone button, and you may have to hit that to go live on it. Down at the bottom of your screen that you're on. If you look at the screen.
Hey Steve, I'm gonna take you and Bill off right now if you two want to kind of work that out, and then
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So we'll go in.
Greg, what'd you do? What'd you do this weekend?
It's fun. Live TV, you got to kind of go with it sometimes.
Yeah.
What's on there? This weekend, I rested up. I've been having some foot problems, and so been trying to rest up this weekend to get back in shape because I'm going to be out of town next weekend playing golf and obviously going to a little golf tournament that's behind me here.
Yeah.
So just rested up, went to some birthday parties. My son had some birthday parties he was invited to this weekend. So a lot of kids' birthday parties. You know, as a dad, that's what you got to do on your weekends a lot of these times. So how was your weekend?
Well, we're back in full swing in the event business. It's that time of year again. So back to back and still trying to get the vineyard finished up and pruning. So, but, you know, I know what your weather's like. My weather today, I was dressed like I was going outside to shovel some snow while I was working down in the vineyard. We're, 20-mile-an-hour winds right now and wind chill down around in the 30s right now. So definitely not golfing weather.
Are you still in that weather right now? Are you still like tonight? Oh, yeah, because we were like 23 when I woke up this morning, and then it was like 53 when I got home this afternoon.
And it was 80 last Monday.
I know. It was like this weekend was beautiful here. It was great weather, and then I mean, this is the Midwest. You go through ups and downs so quickly. But it's amazing.
I'm just hoping we don't get low enough for a frost and it damages my vines. So, but we'll see what happens. But
how's your NCAA bracket? We're in the Final Four, and the first time in a while we've got all four number ones.
Yeah, my father-in-law has missed 8 games total so far.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, he's in the top 40,000.
Bill is out in Tahoe right now in Reno, is having some reception issues and can't hear us. He can hear me on the phone. If you want, I can run this without my headphones on, and I can do the interview, and we can have him just on the phone if you want to do it that way.
Yeah, we'll go back into that in just a minute. Is he on the phone with you now?
He is on the phone with me now.
All right. Okay. So yeah, when you're ready, just take your headphones off, and you can go through and
we'll knock this out.
Yeah. We got all this. When you go live, this is what happens sometimes. You got to work through these technical difficulties. So
that's why it's the Tavern.
Okay, I'm good.
All right.
All right, Bill. We are live here. I've got you on speakerphone here, Bill, for everybody to hear out there. So,
Bill, can you hear all of us?
Bill, can you hear? Because I've got you literally right next to my computer here.
Yeah, a little bit. Okay. At least I can hear you.
All right. So, well, Steve, let's do this since he's going to hear you, and it's going to be tough for us to yell on there. Let's have you just go through.
He can hear you now, Greg. He can hear you now.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Perfect.
Greg, why don't you start us off?
All right. Well, Bill, welcome in to the Tavern. And as we said before, founder and creator of one of the greatest putters in the last decade out there. So, Bill, first off, welcome into the Tavern. About a year ago, but I want to ask you about, yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, so, Bill, we played golf a year ago, and I want to go back to that before we get into your putters here. When we played, you had hickory shafted clubs, and I want to know, are you still rocking the hickory shafted clubs?
I just played in the Arizona Hickory Open a couple weeks ago, and that's the first time I had played them probably all season, because I got into a Sunday bag with a half set of clubs and started just playing those. I was beating up my hickory so much, and then, to be honest, I came from Florida back to the West Coast, and it was so arid, the wood shafts dried up a little bit and started to rattle.
Oh.
So I gotta swell them back up before I can play them again.
Okay. What's your lowest score you have with hickory shafted clubs?
Well, funniest story. Okay, this is a good one. So Ian Pershing, he does the club champion in Naples, and we've been friends on social for a long time. And I was down there last winter, and I had those hickories that we had teed it up with, and I went in to Club Champion, and they had an old 7-iron from a Wilson Staff FG actual tour forging from the 70s, but just mint. And then standard dynamic gold steel shaft. And then this club was the same loft, same length as my hickory mashie. We measured them on the stuff at Club Champions. And then I just went and started hitting golf balls as, with each club. And we categorized it. And if they're the same length and they're the same loft, if they're relatively close in weight, the ball doesn't care what they're made of. If they go the same distance. And then,
Nice.
but it was interesting is that the ball that I hit the furthest was with the hickory, the same club. I could actually hit the hickory about 2 yards further on my best shots than the steel shaft modern club.
Wow.
That's my best hickory story. And that was done at Club Champion. It's crazy.
Nice.
Nice.
So, Bill, let's switch gears here a little bit, and let's get into the L.A.B putter. Let's start with the beginning. When and how did you come up with this idea for the L.A.B putter?
Well, quickly, it was just I was playing in a Monday qualifier. I putted terrible and came home and put the shaft or the grip off one of my face balance putters and rammed a steel extension in it and then put it in a tricep lock position outside my left upper arm. But the extension was not glued in. And then my hands were greasy and was slippery as, this is the middle of summer. And I couldn't keep that putter face square. And then I did it to a toe hang putter, and I couldn't keep that square either. That was like when I finally dawned on me that, well, they say that this flows. So anyways, a couple of days later, I had a working prototype of my vision of what a putter should do. And then, I just figured it out in my shop, in my garage, and I had a little club repair trailer. And, that was it.
Nice. So, Bill, you went from trying to qualify on a Monday, not making it, putting terrible, to all of a sudden, PGA Tour players using equipment typically goes on the idea of equipment deals. And for the longest time, obviously, Adam Scott was realistically almost the only player out there using a L.A.B putter. And that's changed in recent years. So the question I have for you is, at what point did you have that "look, Mom, I made it" moment?
Yeah, when Adam had played the red directed force 2.1 in the Masters, and then which was crazy for him to play a short putter at Augusta, much less with the big branding iron. So that was really kind of a teeter moment. And then after that, obviously when Glover won back-to-back, and then there's so much traction from that with a broomstick. It's really, I'd never seen it in the golf business.
Yeah.
The way it was, like the sales run on broomsticks broke all records existing for sure.
It's funny.
So,
I caddied
something else.
I caddied the Wednesday at Bay Hill with Lucas earlier that year, and watched him stripe it for 18 holes, and thought if he can make a putt, he's gonna win a lot of money this year, and because he hit it so good. And then all of a sudden he wins back-to-back with your putter in the bag, and all of a sudden it's like hotcakes for him. So yeah,
and that was and then while all that happened, then Zalatoris orders one out of his hospital bed or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we do this with the Fire Pit Collective podcast with Matt Janella, and I don't know, and then Mickelson, and then a bunch of guys on, and then there's all this controversy. Like, I started the whole company basically on Facebook, and that was the only thing I could afford. And then, so that was one thing, and then with Liv starting up and all the controversy there, and with the social media platforms, and we had a ton of Liv players. I mean, make no mistake, like there's some pretty good players on Liv, and between the two of them and through COVID, just that kind of coming out of COVID, and then when Liv really took off, and then between the whole thing, and then Mickelson, and now Grant. I mean, I think Grant gets more views than any tour player.
Yeah.
So it's just really gone full, like, supernova, I guess. I don't know.
Hey, Bill, we've got a question from the audience right now. The Orlando golfer is asking, if you could go back in time and could only produce one putter in your current line, i.e. the DF3, the Link, the Mez, any of them, which one would you want to produce as the single lap putter?
Oh, the DF Reno 2.1.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. Because I like the training aids. Like, when I'm actually, like, I'm going to go play.
Mm-hmm.
I love putting the 1-ball and the 2-ball drill in the back, and then running a bunch of putts, and then I can putt far more often from off the green. The 2.1 is fantastic from off the green. But now that's, again, like, that's just because I like easy putters, and I don't care about size or looks. So you throw all that out there, and then as far as like, if I've got my carry bag, I'm gonna go with the Oz with the metal face all day.
Yeah.
All day, like all day.
So I gotta ask, Bill, you have Adam Scott, Lucas Glover, Will Zalatoris, Ricky Fowler, JJ Spawn, all of these players, Mickelson, everyone using your putter, and they're just climbing up the leaderboard. Is your putter the magic formula to see to improve everyone's putter game?
Well, I hope so, but
I mean, I see so many people out there with it. I have friends that use it and live by it. Like, every time I get to the course, they're like, "Hey, I'm switching my putter game up," and they show up with a L.A.B.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what happens is that when you have disruptive technology is one thing, but when you have disruptive technology that exposes a trust issue with the marketing on other companies, that creates a whole different scenario, where it's harder for the other companies to regain the buyer's trust, besides just selling it super cheap. And I think just being the first and the best in the market was and always has been my number one rule, is just be the first and be the best. But now you see these guys that really, to the mere mortal, doesn't have any putting problems, but for them, it's their expectations are higher. So to them, it's relatively the same. In their head, the psyche is the same as what we experience. It's just at a different level. So for them to switch without, player reward pools for finishes and all the other financial incentives that are put in place for players from other companies is it really is a testament, I think, to their feel. They can feel torque now, and have them. I think, you see people, some of them will switch back and forth, and there's nothing wrong with that. Some days, you hit a cut driver or draw driver better. It's just what you woke up with. But I find it interesting to see how many have stuck with it and actually win. I mean, relatively speaking, the amount of players that use lap putters per capita have won substantially more than any other brand. And without, a sales contract in place or a sponsor contract in place, I find that absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it doesn't happen. It used to happen, as you guys may remember. Ping didn't pay anybody for the longest time. And I think Calcavecchia and a couple other guys broke that mold because the other companies started paying players, and so Ping eventually had to follow suit. But it's really a change in the industry on how this is all going down. It's really fascinating to see the dynamics, and just the sheer amount of people. Like, being the inventor, when I'm walking around, I can't help but to notice it.
Yeah.
Every golf course that I go to nowadays, it's just mind blowing, even to me, just walking around like, holy cow! There's so many people with lap putters now, and it's just none. And there's more coming. And we're fixing to be here for a long time, and we're gonna stick around.
So, Bill, you mentioned, that you're, putting off the green. I think Greg and Steve are both going to agree that's the last putter they want to see me with in my hands, because I sink more putts from off the green than either of those two. And I already have enough disadvantages, basically
we hit the green
everything from tee to green. So that's probably the last putter they want to see me with in my bag.
I want to see you with a lab. I think it'd be great for your game, Dave.
Yeah. But you have this cult following, through everybody, and, industry leaders across the board. They kind of weren't on board with your putter at the beginning, and now seems that everybody can't stop talking about it. When was the point that changed? Was it after, Adam Scott and Lucas Glover, or was it a combination of, all these guys just, switching to it and running up the leaderboard?
Well, I think that's, the way it works, what sells is what's important. The dollar, you got to follow the money. So whatever's selling is all that matters. And you have a lot of players that they're using, and I think that's when everything changes. Because the people are seeing tour pros win with these putters, but they're not buying them. And I can, as you guys may know, but I've had every OEM in the industry as a spy on my friends list.
We're gonna get into that here in a minute.
It's quite a following, as they might say. So we just we think that there was a point, like you said, around the Glover time, and when in the golf industry, the big box stores have a quarterly report. They send the quarterlies out to all the companies. Here's how much you sold. Here's where you rank. And we all get the same reports. And so that's when everybody's seeing the same thing. Yeah. And then, there's fire alarms going off because stock shares are dropping, sales are dropping, profit. Yeah. So they don't have, if I was one of the other companies, I would have to say they forced my hand because you don't have any options. But to make something that looks like what people are buying. We've seen that with the Ping i2. We've seen it with the Answer. Now we're seeing it with Lab technology.
Oh, that's
So-
the next question. That's the next question.
That's
Where
right
you
where
go.
I was going with this.
So Bill,
perfect lead-in.
um,
You guys see the April Fool's driver?
yeah, we did see the April
Oh,
Fool's
that's
driver.
not real. Oh,
That's not real.
come on. I wanted a center shafted driver.
Well, you had a
So-
Nike Square at one point in time.
Dude, the Nike Square was legit.
Bill, imitation obviously is the biggest form of flattery. It's been said, and recently there's been a lot of news about every other major golf brand creating what they're calling a zero torque putter. In an industry where certain manufacturers have literally made a living out of copying other people's work, was it just a matter of time before this happened with the L.A.B technology?
I think so. I've been at this since 2012, and first it was congratulations on starting your little putter company. We're going to keep an eye on you. And then it was, well, he got a putter into a celebrity. Well, we better start getting these putters out of the bags that are being shown on TV. And then, here we are. I don't even know how to explain how the ride got here, but we're here.
So L.A.B has made statements before about patented technology that you have in your putters. The L.A.B patent includes self-balancing as part of it. With all of these new putters from all the other manufacturers, how are they not violating this patent of yours?
Well, because they're always missing a piece of the puzzle, or something's not balanced. Actual balance is close, but if I put it in a revealer and hit a ball and the ball doesn't go straight. If it doesn't go straight, it's a moot point. And I've been in the business selling golf clubs since the late 80s, mid 80s. And we had, there's another club putter designer out there which made a video recently where he claimed to have invented L.A.B. And I consider the guy a friend. And it's kind of, you blindside it. But as we had this conversation, I said, he says, I said, zero torque is not L.A.B. If you make a true zero torque, it doesn't stay square. It's close. I mean, very easy to keep it square, but it's not L.A.B. and it's not in my patents. And he said, well, I invented it 10 years. I said, well, to be honest, back in the 80s, Tommy Armour made a ZAP, Z-A-A-P, and that was a zero torque putter. And then there was the plop. And in fact, if you look in the patent laws, or the patents issued and the references in my work, in my body of work there, they're all referenced. I've given everybody the answers that they want, and I've referenced all the stuff. But they, instead of looking at the actual paperwork at the United States Patent Office, everybody wants to speculate. But so there was a 360 degree, literally, this is the word, 360 degree weighting patent filed and got awarded by PLOP, P-L-O-P. That was way back. And then, Tommy Armour was still a company then, so they made the ZAP. And then there's another one which Odyssey bought and swooped in and changed the name, and it was called the Perfect Putter. And the Perfect Putter was the guy that Odyssey bought the backstrike patent from, and that was the backstrikes were actually originally called the Perfect Putter.
That's right.
And it had a big steel neck, a solid steel rod neck all the way. So super heavy and threw off the balance. But the guy, he was thinking right, but it wasn't. I have one by chance. And so I put it in the revealer. It doesn't stay square. Anytime I'm in the thrift store, I see anything that potentially could stay square, I buy it. And just because and then I check. So yeah, the people out there that, like audit, like if you look at my patents, L.A.B is a patent, and then press grips are a patent. And then there's a continuation, which people don't even know. If you look, you can see it. It's public. There's of all the shapes for press grips. And but when you look at the patents, a lot of untrained professional will look at them separately. But I attached my patents, and that's why Callaway hasn't been able to put a press grip on their close putter. But I haven't seen a square to square that actually stays square. I'll be honest with you. Like I went down the shop the other day, and half of them were 5 to 10 degrees open. The rotation speeds are okay, but you can't fit them. You can't change the weights. Like it's like why am I even bothering thinking about this thing? Like they made the backstrike. Like I knew I was going up against Callaway. And, I was surprised they didn't send me a cease and desist way back when, because they had a backstrike. But their patent was wrong and mine was right. And there's been other ones like Axis One. His patent has the CG. If you look at Louis' patent, the shaft points at the front where like the milling marks are on the metal face. And that's why he's got that big neck on there to move the CG up to where that metal is. But now if you look at the new Axis ones that they're selling, the shaft is pointed behind the face. And so he's just going back to zero torque. But I have claims, and I haven't, not that I'm saying that I don't know, because I don't know. I haven't seen all the putters out there. I don't know who's making what. So I that's for attorneys to figure out. But if I'm going to, I have yet to be able to find one that I said, oh my God, I'm worried, or wow, that's impressive, or I should call the attorneys. I just haven't seen one, and they're freaking close. And so you guys saw, I came up with this term I put on social the other day. I'm pleasantly annoyed because it's cool because it's changing the whole market. It's like everybody throwing out their persimmon drivers and buying a metal driver. Yeah, that's like pretty much what's happening with L.A.B and toe hang right now. The scale is equivalent. It's crazy.
Bill, first, I got 2 questions for you. The first one's quick. We are all putter junkies, and probably I think I've got 10 or so in my garage. How many putters do you own?
I don't know.
Well, you make putters, so that doesn't count.
300-400. Okay. All right. So
I lost track over 100 or so.
Okay.
So many, I don't know.
This past January, Greg and I ran into you literally right outside of the Titleist booth at the PGA show. And you said, "Watch this," and walked into the Titleist booth, and they had already removed the zero torque putter that they had off the shelves when you were walking in. Funny enough, that putter finished T2 this week. I don't know if you caught that on the PGA Tour. Have you had a chance to try? You kind of led into this. Any of the other designs, and how do they compare to the L.A.Bs?
Yeah, I have. Most of them over rotate. So if I put them in a revealer, they hit the ball left. Like they like the one that Titleist made a couple months ago, that the lefty, the young professional PGA Tour player, I forget his name now. He's a lefty. Smart.
Akshay? Not Akshay, is it? No, he's Callaway.
No. But about the same age. Anyway, so I could see it when he picked it up on TV, and he had it in his hand. He had it like rocking in his hand, but it was face up, and it rocked so aggressively into a toe up position in his hand that I knew that wasn't Like my putter you can't do that.
No.
So I knew at that point that wasn't balanced. It's low torque. Like I said, that's awesome, man. The guy finished second. That's just more validation that low torque is going to be here. L.A.B is at the pinnacle of low torque or no torque. We are the pinnacle. And then you have a pyramid shape basically underneath it of various things that are not incorporated into the whole L.A.B package, whether it's the forward lean or the balance or the grip or the rotation. That all has to be there. So yeah, it's impressive. Like, and these guys, they got to make a living and they got relationships. It's always good to see if another play, like you see all the jailbreaks, the center shaft jailbreaks, the square to squares. There's a few guys out there using those, and in fact, I saw the one guy had it with my grip on it. He was using the square to square on tour with the Presse 3-degree grip on it.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a fascinating time in the golf club world that we don't get to see too often. I mean, such a shift. Regardless if I'm the I guess the force behind it. I just don't see it. In all my years. And last time I saw anything like this was around the Big Bertha came out, and everybody was starting to bail on persimmons. But there were holdouts that used persimmon for 4 or 5 years after.
My dad, if my dad could still carry a persimmon wood, he would. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah.
So, Bill, let me ask you this: as if someone's changing their putter and they're going to, they want to change to a L.A.B putter, and as you said, this is new technology that's out there, and they might be hesitant. What advice do you have them to do when they're looking into changing to a L.A.B putter, or just they're getting a new L.A.B putter? How to best utilize that technology?
I think some of it has to do with where they're at on their index. I think there's people that have high indexes that actually putt pretty good. They just don't hit the ball tee to green very good. And there's guys that hit it pretty good and just don't putt when they got a choppy stroke or something. So it can change, but I think that making sure that obviously the lie angle is correct is number one. I'm not a big fan of going in for a fitting and then you walk out with a putter that's nowhere even close to the one that you've been using for 10 years or 5 years or a long time. Small changes are better, even if it's not perfectly fit, because there could be something else that could change again. So I like small changes from what somebody is currently using as far as the length and the lie angle. And then, if somebody likes to putt from off the green a lot, I think they should get a 2.1. If they like to putt or really prefer the smaller head, the only one that I really, really would think works for everybody across the board is the Oz with the metal face. And I really think that now, if somebody has been using a straight shaft answer, like you look at like my grandpa, he leans his hands backwards. He's just one of those old wristy putters. I couldn't, get somebody to like that to go to a forward shaft lean. It's hard. So I like that with the new Oz, we offer a no shaft lean option. So if somebody wants to put the little skinny grip on it because it doesn't have a press, I'm not a big fan of DF heads, either one, with forward shaft lean and no press grip. And there's a reason behind that. But So I really think that with the zero shaft lean, it opens up the palette of adjustment for people that are kind of ready to take the plunge, but have been so freaked out by the DF and all the angles and the grip and the cockeyed grip and a shaft lane and, all this stuff going on. Just a straight shaft Oz in the right length and the right lie angle, and then they can futz around with whatever grip they want to put on it. That to me is really the gateway putter that I think even I could take a zero lean putter and go putt lights out. Do I like the zero lean? No, because I've gotten, I like a little forward press in the shaft, but I think that particular setup is something that a lot of people would gravitate towards.
Nice.
So, Bill, as you know, it's been a pleasure having you, even on the phone tonight. We'll have to get you back live and in person on the Tavern here down the road here. But how can someone find out more about L.A.B putters, and where can they order theirs?
We want to go to labgolf.com, LABGOLF.com, or get on there and then put your zip code in and find your local PGA professional or authorized fitting center and go get your hands dirty. Go pick one up, bang it around the putting green, get on social. But at the end of the day, we always like people to try the online fitting. I invented that so that we can fit anybody very accurately from the comfort of their own home. And it's free. And our staff will fit you all day long. And then if you want to go compare those specs to something else you did or another fitting or another fitting from a L.A.B fitter, the more information you can gather, the better, because that's what it's about.
I know the Orlando golfer has been fit for his putter through your online fitting system, and all I do is watch that dude make putts all day long on me. So definitely, the process works. So, Bill, thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate it. I know we had to improvise here, and I appreciate you being flexible and improvising and getting you on tonight. Good luck.
You guys can make it bigger. We'll work it out. I'm getting jumped on up here right now. I can't see. Well,
you go and be safe up there, and don't spend too much money in the casino in Tahoe, okay?
No, sir.
All right. See you, Bill. Thanks.
All right. Cheers, Bill. I mean, we could talk to Bill all day long. Like, imagine having Bill and Barney Adams on the show at the same time, and we would just show would be
we wouldn't say anything. We would just
shut up. 6-8 hours long.
It's like I said before, it's great when someone has a passion behind what they do. And I've said this for the past few weeks on the show. It shows in their work, like our Golfish shirts here, the passion that Jamie and his team have behind their brand shows in the quality of these shirts. And L.A.B, the quality shows, and it's showing on tour, it's showing everywhere how these putters work out there. So if you're and
don't forget with Golfish, if you put in the code Golfing Dads, all one word, you get 15% off.
Yeah, 100%. So
hey, let's hop back into first round.
You gonna read your little spiel again this week, Steve?
Our friends at Desert Fox Golf launched their NCAA logoed speakers and phone caddies at the end of 2024, but they are really hitting their stride just in time for March Madness. With 14 universities available, 12 more approved and coming soon. Make sure you're following Desert Fox Golf on Instagram and TikTok for updates. Their newest option includes LSU, Texas Christian University, Purdue, Texas Tech, BYU, and Northern Arizona, keeping true to their local roots out in Arizona. Don't forget, you save 15% on your entire order by using discount code GolfingDads. Show off your school pride and enjoy some of the best golf accessories in the market.
If you need some golf accessories for your Penn State Nittany Lions in the Frozen Four, next week in St. Louis. Check them out.
There you go.
All right.
So, with that,
Nope.
We're gonna let him
Steve's
cook.
cooking.
Steve's
Cooking.
cooking. But I'm gonna slow play down for you.
You know what? I want to talk about a couple things before we get into that.
All right.
First off, let's just say Houston was an amazing event on the PGA Tour, a
Once again,
yes.
a non-elevated event. Another great week. Great to see Minwoo get a win. There was a lot of drama on Sunday for what it was, though.
But I mean, you had. Let's just talk about first the play. You have Gary Woodland coming back, playing well again,
and we talked about this
with full swing.
With full swing.
Yes.
If you weren't rooting for Gary Woodland to win that golf tournament,
Come on,
you don't have a pulse. I'm just going to call it this.
If you look at this, the top 3 finishers were all focused on episodes of Full Swing.
Correct.
All 3 of them. So
Yep.
it's an amazing. Just these are the storylines. Like, this isn't a signature event. This isn't a major, but you had some great names in the field this week. Some people trying to make the first major for next week, and just a great storyline. You got Scotty playing well again.
Rory with a backdoor top 5.
Backdoor king. Let's just call it what it is, Roars.
Makes the cut.
weekend
Plays well
and-
Saturday, Sunday.
What he does.
Yeah. But unbelievable recovery by Minwoo after launching driver, into the middle of the lake on the par 5.
Here's the problem. Like, again, agreed. But the big issue started long before this, and I would think it was the 8th hole, when Minwoo hit a ball underneath the tree and took like 10 minutes to decide what to do to hit a shot. And there's
7.
a rules official. 7, okay. There's a rules official involved. And I think the problem that I have is that if you have been to a PGA Tour event, first of all, and you know what it takes to get a rules official to come over and make a ruling, it's not an easy process, okay? So we'll start with that. And then that process is going to take longer. Now,
well, then they have to assess the situation too. So they have to
assess the situation.
Then they have to
here's
assess
your
the
options.
situation and make a decision. And a lot of times, if you watch these events live, if you're there, I've been there for ruling officials, and sometimes they have to call another official just to confirm, like, hey, this is what I'm seeing. What do you think? Let's get this right. So it's not a quick process by any means.
No. So I think I'm not going to criticize Minwoo for what happened on 8 at all. Like, that's how it happens out there. And by the time they made the turn, they were back in position. So you can't really say that it was slow play.
No.
It accelerated, though, when at one point, and things have come out since then, that Bones was talking about Toasty being 50 yards behind everybody and walking slow and trying to walk it and trying to create the pace. Now, Toasty has come out and said, listen, I went to the bathroom and I filled my water bottle up and changed my water bottle with electrolytes or whatever it is he puts in there. So my problem that I have is that I'm not going to criticize Toasty if that's the case. If that's what happened, you're going to be behind. You're going to have to catch up a little bit because you went to the bathroom and you changed your water bottle out, and it is what it is. So the question is did the media blow that out of proportion on TV?
Of course.
See, I don't think so. Because here's the thing. I'm one of those of, like, if you're playing slow, if I got to stop, so if I'm playing around and I got to stop and go to the bathroom and you guys walk ahead, I'm not going to just slowly walk back up there. I'm going to try to speed it up to get back. So I don't think I will say they blew it out of proportion. Yes, I think they made a bigger deal of it than what it is. But I also think something's there where it's like, I don't think it was intentional, but come on, man, let's move it a little bit quicker, because we just talked about how the officials, the rules officials, and that caused the play to be slower because of that whole decision process. But when you can control the situation and you can walk a little bit faster, or you can do something like that, take it in your own hands at that point. That's
but at the end of the day, they still caught up to Scotty's group, and we're still waiting. So the slow
So-
play wasn't on, their group. I just think, playing in threes and trying to get it out there, it made the play feel slower than what it was playing as a threesome than your typical twos.
Right.
But overall, watching it on TV, you saw a lot of that group waiting on Scotty's group, to finish. But I think
Now,
overall, a great tournament, and it played out very well on TV.
I will say this: if you watch the 18th hole, though, they all hit bombs off that 18th tee, and Minwoo moves it anyway. But
Yeah.
Fox and Toasty both roped their second shots in there real quick, and Minwoo still hadn't even started even thinking about a number or getting a number,
Right.
and they were doing calculations and everything, and they had the mics on them, which I don't mind. I like hearing the conversation. But the problem is that you couldn't survive in our group if you waited for everybody in the group to hit to then start talking numbers and what you need to hit.
Well, let me ask you this, because we've watched golf for 40 years between all of us, and I don't remember this being a problem in the past.
No.
Golf hasn't
No.
changed, the game hasn't changed, so there's something there that's in the middle between shots that these players are doing that is taking way too long.
You know
And
what I think
that's
it
what's-
is? You know what I think it is? I honestly think because of the fast pacedness of Live, and because if you watch Live on TV, you have like the ball doesn't even stop spinning, and they're cutting to the next shot because they move so quick.
But it was before Live. Like, my point is, where did this happen where plays slowed down so much they have to come up with all this stuff? Like this, I don't remember a problem ever being out there where a tournament was cut short because of darkness. They finished. Like it would happen
Yeah.
with weather, but
Yeah.
where did this
I,
start?
I
'Cause
think
they're
a lot of
blaming
it, as
everything.
these guys are more and more dialed in with knowing that a 7-iron goes X number of yards, an 8 goes X, and a 6 goes X. They're trying to do the calculations on, all right, how many feet am I subtracting, here between a 7 and an 8-iron, and lies. And I think a lot of it is too much up here. What they need is the PGA Tour needs to allow the Nikon rangefinder, let them out there, shoot the stick, grab a club, let them go.
You
But
know
at
what?
some
I
point, just make
want to
a
read a
decision.
comment. I want to read a comment from a caddy on Instagram right now that just came in. Jerry Carey,
Hey,
America's caddy.
Hey,
My Florida caddy hasn't showed up in 3 weeks yet. Jerry, I know I still owe you that bet. I still have to pay that. I did say in the bet the next time you come to Florida, so we're waiting on you, buddy. So
I want to see that video.
oh, don't worry,
yeah.
we will.
That's what we questioned there. So, Steve, I think it's time for your favorite segment.
Smack of the week. Let's go.
Your mindset.
We've been to Cirque du Soleil before, right?
Not together, but I've been
No.
to Cirque du
Not
Soleil
together.
before.
This is what happens when you try and do Cirque du Soleil at home.
Slip and fall.
Oh!
Pimp down, pimp in distress. Oh my God, pimp down, pimp in distress. I need $150 million.
I love the friend just laughing hysterically, not
Yeah.
trying to help,
Yes.
not trying to do anything.
Well, because that's what a good
Like-
friend does. They laugh
Oh,
at you when you
100%.
fall down.
That's what we would have done too.
Oh, 100%.
So,
And,
yeah.
and you know what happens with that. So,
Yeah.
all right, let's get into last call. I mean, we already
All right.
talked about last week's tournament, so
So let's hop into this week's last chance to get into the Masters.
Mhm.
The only way you can get in this week, if you're not in the field, is to win.
Yep.
No more. Everything is set. The field is set unless you win this week, and that's the only way you can get in. Which has happened before. We've had people that have done that. So I think that's not a bad option. TPC San Antonio, Texas Open. Jordan Spieth has won there before. Corey Connors has won there twice. Akshay is the defending champion.
Yes.
Well, let's get into the odds then. All right, Dave.
Odds with Dave, presented by Nikon. Hey, I do have to say, I know you guys haven't had a chance to get on the golf course with your Nikon rangefinder.
No, because it's cold here.
It's cold and rainy and snowy. And
Next week.
Next week. I have gotten on the course, and I have to tell you, I am overly impressed by this rangefinder. It is, not only does it lock on fast, if you've had one too many transfusions on the golf course, still with that locking technology, with the stabilization, locks right onto the target. Super clear, super quick, reliable from the word go. And honestly, it's the best rangefinder on the market. And I will say that.
I'll give you my live review next week from South Carolina. So
love it.
Yeah.
So Dave, who do we got this week as the favorite?
So this week, Ludwig leading the way at 12-1. Corey Connors and Tommy Fleetwood making an appearance at 16. Cantley at 18. Jordan at 20. Hideki at 20. Defending champion Ashke and Keegan at 25. Denny McCarthy at 28. Berger at 30. Siwoo 35. Finau 35. And everybody's favorite story, we're to go all the way down to Gary Woodland at 50-1.
Who's Berger?
So Greg,
is that Daniel Berger?
Yes.
Okay.
Whatever. Greg, you missed the cut last week. As our season stands right now, because Steve and I got the same amount of points this past week. Greg's at 42. Steve starting to pull away a little bit at 68, and I'm at 121.
Oh, no longer halfway back.
No. So, well, that's what happens.
Yeah.
But next week, unless somebody wins this week, and unless you pick the winner, there will be a duck race for the Masters next week.
Because last year I picked the winner going to a major and got screwed by it. So no, there will be a duck race.
Yeah, no, there's duck races regardless.
Oh, duck race for everything.
Yeah. Yeah,
no, I picked the winner last year going into a major.
Do we get to throw the hammer for the Masters and make it worth double?
We get to. I like that. I like that idea of having the hammer.
Yeah.
For that.
Greg, who you going with?
I kind of want to go Hideki, but you know what? He had a great week last week. He'll probably have a down week this week, but I'm going to say no. I want to see 2 weeks in a row of this guy. Give me Gary Woodland. I'm going with him.
Good call. I like it.
That was my other pick, and Greg, you said my first pick.
Oh, Hideki.
I'm going back with Hideki.
All right.
I really want to pick Ben Griffin this week. Ben needs a win to get into the Masters, and that has been his number one goal. However,
45-1.
45-1.
Mm-hmm. Same with Maverick and Bud Colley and Sam Burns.
I am going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to take a 2-time winner there in Corey Connors.
All right.
There you go.
Well, perfect. Well, cheers, everybody. Thank you, Bill, for making do tonight on the phone, and we'll see you all next week.
Cheers.
Really